Welcome back to Season 2 of The Cooking Pros, the show where we try to take simple meals to change up the drab, boring lives that we're all living. In today's episode, we are going to take on the chicken sandwich, something that's been all the rage all over the country for like the last 10 years. We have chicken breast cut thin, eggs, breadcrumbs mixed with panko, flour, toppings including cheese, pickles, spinach, Frank's Red Hot sauce, and butter, and buns. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start by taking some of these chicken breasts, and I'm just gonna cut them in half so that they have sandwich size pieces. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and take a couple eggs, break them into here. And we'll go ahead and just whisk this up. And what we're gonna do is just a 3-part breading process where we have this egg wash, some flour, and some breadcrumbs and panko. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just take our chicken cutlets and I'm gonna just flour them lightly just to coat them. Put them in the egg wash, letting that kind of drip to get all the excess egg off. And then putting them in a mix of half panko and half breadcrumbs. Sometimes what we'll do in our house is we make some sourdough breads or things like that, and any that we don't eat we'll dry out and use that as breadcrumbs. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn on my cast iron pan here. And I'm gonna let that heat up a bit. It's not really a deep fry, you're just kind of putting a shallow layer of oil on the bottom of your cast iron. I'm using an avocado oil, which is way too expensive for this type of meal, but you know, you can't use the cheap stuff for the videos. So now the pan's starting to heat up a bit. I'll go ahead and pour enough just to coat the bottom. Doesn't have to be too much. All right, so my pan is nice and hot, the oil is nice and hot. I'm probably over a medium-high heat right now. I dropped a little bit of water in there. You saw it start to sizzle, and so that's how I know we should be ready to go. Now I'm gonna take these chicken cutlets and I'm gonna go ahead and put them in, laying them down away from me, so if there's any oil splatter, it's going away from me at my cameraman. We don't wanna overfill, so we'll do these in 2 rounds. And they'll probably go about 4 or 5 minutes per side. You'll notice I'm leaving a space between each piece of chicken. You want that. If they start touching, that's where you're gonna get that sogginess. That's where it's gonna have it's not gonna stick. So it's been about 4 or 5 minutes, and I'm gonna go ahead and flip these guys over. Remember, these are cut in half, both lengthwise and horizontally. So these are pretty thin. So if you have thicker pieces of chicken, you're gonna have to cook it for a little bit longer than this. And I'm gonna go ahead and just let this go another 4 or 5 minutes on this side until it's cooked well enough that it doesn't kill your family. While my last chicken breasts are going here on the stove, I'm gonna go ahead and heat up this little tiny saucepan, cast iron saucepan, and in it I'm going to put some butter. We're gonna melt this down, and we're gonna add Frank's Red Hot sauce to it. And this is gonna create essentially like a buffalo wing sauce. So your butter is very fatty and oily, and your sauce is mostly water-based, vinegary. So these are not going to want to mix. So as we're putting this in here, you're gonna wanna keep stirring it and create kind of an emulsion between the two. The more hot sauce you add, the spicier it'll be. So do it to your specifications and enjoyment level. And you'll see if you stop stirring it, it's gonna start to separate. And we're gonna try to keep that from happening. So what we're doing is we're just mixing air into it, and that'll keep them from separating as quickly. Now to assemble. We are going to use a brioche bun. Got these at Aldi. We'll take one of our chicken patties. We'll put it in that hot sauce. Now some of you are going to wonder, hey, I don't like the spicy chicken sandwiches. Can I just do it without this? You can, but you'll probably want to season your butter a bit more, or your flour a bit more when you're making the breading. Otherwise it's going to taste kind of bland. So I'm going to go ahead and add a piece of cheese, a couple pieces of spinach, and a couple pickles. We'll let that cheese melt a second, but there you have it, the easy chicken sandwich.